Thanks for joining us for another edition of Issues and Answers. I am Ian Boyne. Today our focus is on corruption and that important fight. We have with us Colonel Desmond Edwards, the recently appointed Director General of the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency. And that is as a result of the merger of what was the MOCA Task Force and the Anti-Corruption Branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We thank you so much for your company. Colonel, good to have you on the show. Perhaps we should start first by talking a little bit about your background in intelligence. Has that been your focus in the military?
The longest period of my Army career has been spent, or was spent rather, in the military intelligence unit, where I commanded at every level within that unit, ultimately commanding the unit itself.
Yes.
So I spent a total of 15 years.
That's a long time.
In military intelligence.
Yes. And you have also worked with Kingfish. You had something to do with...
Yes, I was a part of the team that established Kingfish, and in fact I was the second in command of the task force and was essentially integral in coordinating the activities between intelligence, case building and investigations and operations. So the synergies I oversaw, those processes that ensured that the task force outcomes were successful.
Yes. Colonel, tell us what exactly is expected of this merger between what was the MOCA Task Force and the Anti-Corruption Branch. What better results should we see as a result of this?
Well, the first thing you'll expect is better, more efficiency, and hence more effectiveness, because what we saw was there seemed to have been significant areas where there were natural synergies and overlapping. And what we intend to do is to bring those areas together, and obviously that will give us some better dynamics, better efficiencies, and we will be able to better accomplish our mission. So as we go forward, we expect, with the help of the public and a more coordinated interaction between these various entities of the task force, of the agency, we expect better efficiencies.
And you don't see much of a threat of the unintended consequence of a diffusion of focus from corruption in the police force, in that there is no specific unit now dealing with that, but that under this merger, perhaps the kind of searchlight that ought to be on that itself might not be there.
No, not at all, because the mandates of the agencies as they existed previously continue under the new dispensation. Yes. So the focus of these various, these two initially dispersed entities, they continue to focus on their main point of origins and so on, using the mandate they had. And all we're doing is bringing them together and to make them more efficient, basically.
And perhaps our experience has been that there is indeed a strong nexus between the corruption in the police force and what takes place in the civilian sector.
Yes, there's some of that. We would have seen that over the years because essentially, we police, military, all of us are part of the society. So we do in fact get involved in all various aspects of what happens out there, and corruption cannot be excluded. So there is a natural nexus with corruption.
How strongly do you yourself feel about this anti-corruption drive, Colonel? Is it something that really motivates you and gets you adrenaline going?
It does, and in fact because of my background in intelligence over the years, I would have been privy to corruption at various levels in various entities and so on. So it has been a long-standing focus that I personally have had. I have been involved in pretty much every anti-corruption initiative that I've, certainly since I've been serving. So even the establishment of the anti-corruption branch, I was involved in that process. I was actually I actually headed a team that did an audit of the anti-corruption branch in 2011. And we looked at their operations and we made recommendations as to how they could better streamline their operations, hence be more effective. So it has been certainly something that I have had a personal interest in pursuing, yes. And I look forward to this opportunity, and certainly with the help of well-thinking Jamaicans and the public at large who really have a concern about the effects that corruption and the impact it has on our stability and our progress as a nation. I'm really looking forward to working and with their support to making it happen. Yeah.
Highly experienced intelligence man, Colonel Desmond Edwards, his appointment as the head of MOCA has been greeted with bipartisan support and strong media support. Certainly we need him to succeed. We take a break, but we'll be right back.
What are you doing to help the fight against crime?
Sitting on the corner, minding your own business, definitely not going to work.
It is time for us to unite.
Unite.
Unite for change.
Citizens coming together to make their respective communities safer. The police, schools, public health, business, churches, NGOs, parents and neighborhood watch volunteers.
As we, the police, do our job,
we as citizens need to do our part as well.
Report crimes or even suspicious activities.
Let's all work together
as one united front against crime.
And make Jamaica the place that tries to
live, work, raise families, and do business.
Unite for Change, an initiative of the Ministry of National Security.
Welcome back. The head of the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, Colonel Desmond Edwards, is our guest on Issues and Answers. How do you see the agency move in the next 3 to 6 months? What will be the kinds of priority actions that it will set itself?
Well, the priority actions, in fact, what we're pursuing right at this minute is the most effective way to bring together the two agencies. Yes. Luckily, they are geographically located in the same place.
Yes.
So that aspect of it is
hopefully culturally you can right. They can be as close.
Culturally as well, yes. What I have found as well, just by my first few days in MOCA, is that a number of the persons there were people who I knew from Operation Kingfish. So some of them have moved up in rank, obviously, but they retain the same culture that we had managed to develop at Kingfish. So I anticipate that merging will be less of a problem than you normally think it would be. So the first order of business really is to get the entities merged together. And obviously, while we're doing that, we still have to be focused on operations. We have quite a number of
and some highly publicized ones too.
Operations, some highly publicized, which I'm at the moment getting briefed on.
Yes,
because as a coming from the outside, you had a broad picture, but just the specifics now. So the focus really is just to maintain focus on those key areas that the unit is mandated to focus on.
Yes.
So I anticipate very good results as we go forward with better efficiencies, improved processes, how we have synergies between intelligence, because these kind of operations have to, of course, be led primarily by intelligence.
Yes.
So it's how you have the synergies between intelligence and investigations and case building. Because, unless the case is properly put together, then you'll not get a conviction when it goes to trial. And then obviously how the operations of the whole organization goes.
Colonel, do you fear political interference? Do you feel that as laudable as the objectives of MOCA are, that you will come under some pressure to ease up on some people?
No, not at all. And I'm going to be fearless and without favor in the pursuance of this mission that I have been given. I think the political personalities would realize that it is in the interest of the country that we really get our act together in dealing with this scourge of corruption, because it will only stymie our development. I think and you already mentioned that there's support from both sides.
Yes.
So I'm happy for that.
Yes.
And
you intend to build on that? You intend to have a good liaison with the opposition?
Sure.
To be open to the opposition?
I'll be very open, right? You know, we need to have the buy-in of everybody, not just politicians, but all Jamaicans from all categories, from the private sector, public sector, and you know, across all sectors, really.
Yes.
So that is important.
Yeah. So it will be important to build support for the work of MOCA across the society with all the stakeholders.
Indeed. Without that, we won't have the success that we need to have.
Yes, yeah. There are some people who are still cynical, Colonel, who feel that there are big fish that we're afraid to fry. What assurance you can give us that under your leadership, you're not going to be intimidated by anybody, no matter how big a private sector mogul that person is?
Well, my reputation speaks for itself. I've established, you know, the credentials of being a person who focuses on the task at hand and get the job done. And I will go, and the MOCA will go where the intelligence and where the investigation leads. So once there's credible evidence that we can build and put together and build cases around, then we'll take them right to the ultimate end, which is prosecution. And I won't be deterred by who it implicates going forward. Right?
And you won't be afraid as to whether your job might be on the line?
Not at all. Not at all.
You want to do it?
I want to do the right thing.
Yes.
And for Jamaica.
What would you want to have accomplished by the end of your tenure when you leave office? Tell me the kind of Jamaica you want to see, what you want to accomplish.
Well, what I think MOCA can do for Jamaica is really deal with this issue of corruption that has really been a significant burden and millstone around our necks for too long. It is prevalent throughout all aspects of our society. It is institutionalized in some areas.
Unfortunately.
And MOCA, I think, can make a significant difference. And by the time I would have established the merger and get this thing really up and running, putting in the processes, MOCA should be such an effective and credible entity that we'll see a step change in the approach to the kind of issues that we need to deal with, the problems of corruption. And we will begin to stamp it out once and for all, bring in the people who are, you know, the facilitators, the kingpins, the corrupt public officials and elected officials, if they fall into the category as well.
Colonel, the issue of organized crime. There are some big fellows who feel that they have immunity, that they can do as they want because of their power. What's your message to them?
Well, you would recall that the original mandate of the MOCA task force, when it was established, was to go after just these people, the so-called kingpins, the so-called untouchables, and the facilitators who have seemingly managed to evade prosecution over many years. They need to be minded that the main mandate that we have is to put them out of business and to bring them to books for their involvement in these illicit activities. So one of the major focus of the task force going forward, or the agency going forward,
The merge.
the merged entity going forward, would be to look at these individuals, to build cases against them, and to prosecute them for these offenses. So they need to understand that without fear or favor, MOCA will be on their heels.
So that this merged entity would increase the effectiveness of the thrust against organized crime.
Very much, because we now have more resources to throw at the problem, more competent. We have the best people. We're looking at having the best investigators, the best intelligence operatives who can bring the necessary case building mechanisms together. And once we bring the processes together and they're effective and efficient, right, we will begin to have better results and be able to really put these people out of business once and for all and make this country a better place.
Colonel Desmond Edwards, newly appointed head of MOCA, and someone whose appointment has been hailed by the opposition, by media. People are saying he's the right man for the job, and I think that his pronouncements today would seem to confirm that. We thank you for your company. Next week we'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.